welcome to another stream. Today is number 55, I believe. The stream is called Survival Adaptation. And the podcast that you're listening to is called the Solistic Intelligence Podcast. I am your host, Amelie, and I am also the creator of Solistic Intelligence. And what is Solistic Intelligence? Really just looking at the whole soul, from body to soul, and seeing where we can glean information from. So here I just share information that I am either going through or things that I've been through or things that are kind of coming up as topics in the current realm of influence. And survival adaptation came up as a topic. And so we're going to talk about that. I know I didn't finish multiplicity, but I'm sure it'll come up again. I created a little, I like to call it the horseshoe theories of multiplicity, because it just is really helpful to kind of see from both extremes and then a harmonious area. Okay, so survival adaptation. What is it? What do I mean when I say that? So when I was going through some of my deepest grief, people would come up to me and say, be strong. Just be strong, like hang in there. And you know that it's very nice to have that kind of encouragement in that kind of a situation. But I also think that unless you've gone through these really deep grief periods, and maybe it's just part of our culture, the way we speak to one another, that strength is like being strong or having strength. Like, yeah, it's important, but it's also important at the same time while you're going through that to be soft and fall apart and experience the fragility that you're going through when you're going through that stage of grief. It's it's almost a dismissive state, but I get why people would say that. It's just kind of, there's a kindness that comes into it. But I also know from really deep experiences of just like looking at somebody really intently of like, why would you say be strong to me? Like, what do you mean by that? So strength doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a grieving situation. Strength can also come from just being put into situations where you have to rely on yourself. And when you're relying on yourself, that is what I mean by survival adaptation, okay? So survival adaptation is the survival mechanisms. Mike is here, yay! Finally feel like a real, have you submitted the job applications yet? I'm not sure what you mean by that. JP Clips? Are you talking about applying for something, for me to apply to something? So when I love your background. Can I be mid? Sorry, you got confused. Hey, Jesse, what's going on? No, sorry. Okay, cool. Thanks for joining me. And okay, so continuing on, survival adaptation is, I noticed that in most of my life that I had to use strength. So I was already strong, okay? So when people are coming up to me in this recent bout of grief that I was going to and telling me to be strong, I just like flatly looked at him like, you have no idea the strength that I've had to muster up my whole life in order to get through to where I'm at right now. And so to really have that safety to be soft, which is all I really wanted during that moment of pure heartbreak, was to have that soft moment where I could just fall apart, cry, and just like lay it all down, just get it all out of me. And that's another reason why I say, like, when you tell somebody to be strong, what are you really saying to them? Like, I don't think that we really think about the full gambit of what that entails. Yep, please like and subscribe. It's going to be really cool. All right. So the survival adaptation is still relying on these survival mechanisms, and that is that fight, flight, freeze, fawn part of our systems. So if you have been following me, or maybe you're new here, I like to cover the nervous system. So the nervous system, there's two circuits that it can be operating under. One is the prefrontal cortex, which is the regulated emotion, not animal brain. It's like the higher mind is operating, and that's this frontal lobe section here. And so when that circuit's on, the animal amygdala circuit is off. And so you can use your higher mind. Your emotions are going to be more regulated. You're going to be able to have clear decision making in situations. Whereas if you're exhausted or tired or hungry and you have these needs that need to be met, it might activate that amygdala. And then if you're younger, if you're a child, your prefrontal cortex isn't quite developed as much as when you're an adult. Even when you're in your lower 20s, like it still is getting to a place where you're still learning the regulation. You're still learning some good decision making and all of the other beautiful things that come with having an activated higher mind, okay? So you might find yourself, if you're really analyzing yourself and you're wanting to have, personal mastery in your life, and you're like, I'd really like to just really focus on being in my higher mind and becoming the best, most refined person I can be, you're going to want to start activating that, okay? Now, when you're in survival, you're in this, that switch is off, and they've done studies on it. So there are case studies that prove that this is a real thing that happens. When you have the amygdala turned on, you might react negatively. You're not really emotionally regulated in that state. So when I say survival adaptation, you might still be living in this survival even though you think that you're doing great, because I've done that before. Like my whole life, basically, I've done that, where I think like emotionally, oh, okay. I could say that definitely most of my life until recently, I was very much emotionally kind of a noob, meaning that if someone was feeling, I didn't know what to say. I would say fine or be really dismissive. I wouldn't be serious about, oh, I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling adventurous. I'm feeling a little mischievous. I'm feeling scared. Like I wouldn't be really super honest with how I was feeling to others when I'm saying it to them. But then also analyzing myself, I didn't even know how to register that. So when I say survival adaptation, it's really sitting in this place where you're still in survival, you're still maybe crushing it in life. However, this is an adaptation, all right? So let's really deep dive into this. So let's kind of define and redefine strength. So when we're going from survival adaptation into a place of post-survival sovereignty, which is really where we want to be. We want to be present in our bodies. We want to know how we're feeling. We want to be in the present. And it's taking me a long time to figure out, how do I be present? And I noticed that now that I've done a lot of deep work in this area, that being in the present has opened these new kind of gateways to how do I nurture my inner child? And it kind of happens naturally. I didn't even really think about it until I started analyzing, like, oh, these things that I really like to do really are nurturing that inner child in me. And what does that mean? So for me, when I was a kid, I loved swimming. And so now all I think about is how do I get into water? Like 2 to 3 times a week, I'm taking a bath. Anytime that it's warm out, I'm like, let's go to the river. Anytime it's cold out, let's go to the hot springs. I'm always thinking about water, and that is something that is, unique to my childhood that I really enjoy doing. Okay. So when we're moving from the adaptation into some place where we're sovereign, meaning that we're present, we're, what's the word? We're living in our being. Like we not just feel our physical bodies, but now we're experiencing our emotions. We're intellectualizing with our brains, and we're having soul like connection, spiritual experiences, which have all happened to me. I had lots of stories. Um, and they continue to develop more and more. Are they always on? No. But when they come, I can feel and experience and analyze and have all of the whole body experience, which is a very, I would say, celestic feeling. Um, so our core premise here is not all strength is sovereign. Okay, so you can be strong, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in that sovereign being, and sovereign being living in your whole body. Some strength is survival that got really good. Okay, you're really good at being in that survival state. All right. So, what do you call discipline? Or what you call discipline may be a fear of collapse. Okay. You might keep getting up every single day. All right. Going to work. I've done this. Go to work because you didn't want to lose your house. All right. And I did that for years and years and years. I did that. Like, if I don't get up and go to work right now, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, I'm going to lose everything. Very scarcity mindset. And it's very draining on your body. Like, if you're in this, you're biological, like, you're participating in biological usury in some level, meaning that you're stealing from your loosh or your life force in the future by sitting in that scarcity. And I know because I've experienced it. So what you might call discipline may be a fear of collapse. Like, everything's going to fall apart if I don't do blank. You see this with, men and women. They might stay in relationships for a long period of time, knowing that it's not, serving either of them, or maybe they don't. Maybe there's hints of it or whatever. But if for some reason the two separate, everything is going to collapse, right? The woman might think, oh, if I leave him, then what's going to happen to me and my children. So there's this fear of like the unknown and collapse in that situation. Kindred, you look so beautiful in your dress. It was adorable. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a little bit more green dresses, but I need to I need to work on it. Okay. Now what you might call independence, all right? There's a lot of these, oh, I'm independent, might be an avoidance of reliance. I've been there. I don't want to be dependent on somebody, so I'm going to be independent. And that really, it really was like, if I'm relying on somebody, then there's a danger there. And so I do anything that I can to really avoid that connection with people, which I'm working on, okay? And then what some might call discernment. Okay, discernment is good. I'm in a certain level of discernment right now where a lot of new people are entering my field in the year of connection. So I'm super excited about that. But what some might call discernment may instead be hypervigilance, meaning that I'm constantly threat detecting whoever is coming in. All right. you move from kind of being in this low level of discernment, which would be considered hypervigilance, into a higher level of discernment, which um, is just, okay, this is what this person is going through. This is what, and when you're, I'm not saying that any of these survival mechanisms that we've learned to rely on and adapt to are necessarily negative. However, continually being in that survival mindset is taxing on your body, all right? And you'll start to notice it once you get older. If you're still in that, it'll just start wearing on you, okay? So this, but then the other side of this is I don't want to shame the survival, because we all go through it, I think. At least that's what I've been observing, is we all have these survival mechanisms. Like a game of Jenga, yeah. It's a game of Jenga. So this, we're not shaming survival. Survival is there as a necessity, but it's like for emergencies only, okay? Let's think of survival as for emergencies only. It shouldn't be a place of where you're at all the time. That's living in literal fear, literal scarcity. Okay? What I am talking about today is really learning to outgrow that, okay? Survival adaptation. And so once we outgrow that, then we can assume a little bit more leadership role, whether it's leadership of your home, but first and foremost, it's leadership of yourself. Like being super present and one with yourself, okay? That's really like where we're kind of going into here. So survival adaptation is the body and mind organizing behavior around avoiding threats, okay, maintaining safety, and preventing loss. All of those things. And there may be some of these things that you're actively, you've adapted to in your life. It doesn't necessarily mean like you're all survival or you're all sovereignty. These things can have certain sliding scales in your life at different times in your life. Like you can even go back and then go forward, okay? So you might still be in a threat avoidance, even though there's no threats. It's just that still is activated in your brain. And now, because it's continuously activated, all right, and the threat isn't there anymore that caused that threat detection to happen, it still is happening. That's the survival adaptation, is it's still happening, even though that threat is gone. Okay? I'm like super chill. I don't always lock all the doors. I've been this way for a long, long time. Very laissez-faire about certain things in my life. And I've been around people where it's like constantly checking everything. Like they're always on, their survival is always on, and it never turns off, and they're very high-strung people. It's very hard to be around that energy sometimes because you're like, there's no threat. There's no threat. Like, what are you seeing? I don't see the threat. Like, what are you talking about? Okay? Because we entrain with one another emotionally. So how does this form? Okay? Now, survival adaptation forms through several ways. One is inconsistency. So this could be an emotional inconsistency. It can be an environmental inconsistency. An emotional inconsistency could be when you're a kid and you have a parent or a guardian or maybe even any family member that just, you don't know how they're going to react, so you brace yourself around them. You're always like, how are they feeling? How are they feeling? Are they going to blow up at me? Are they going to blow up? Like, am I, so that inconsistency where they're like nice to you and then they're like turn on the rage to you, that causes a form of survival adaptation. And I have a friend and he's very vocal about it. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing it, but I'll keep his name quiet. But his mother would yell and beat him, and then when it was in public, she would just praise him. Okay? Oh, he's so, great. But then behind closed doors, it was like all the rage, just whatever she had was put into him. Okay? So that inconsistency caused him to mistrust love from people. So anytime somebody loved him or started praising him, okay, he was like ready for the door to close and to be behind closed doors, and he was basically bracing himself to be punished in whatever ways that his mother did that, okay? So that is a form of emotional inconsistency that caused a lot of, damage for many, many years, and he's addressing it, and he's just doing beautifully. Like, I'm like so grateful for him to be doing that. Environmental inconsistency could be like where you don't think that you're going to have food, or maybe you moved around a lot, so the environment, you just didn't have consistency in your environment. Not that moving around is necessarily a negative thing, but constantly moving around as a child could cause a little bit of, insecurity as far as where am I going to be and where am I going to sleep, okay? Survival adaptation, the next one is through unpredictability. So a lot of people that have good pattern recognition, they're able to kind of predict the next steps forward. And I mean, I don't know, I haven't really dug into it, if it's like a case study, if anybody's done that. But I think that if you're in an inconsistency, unpredictability situations, that it raises your empathy level to a higher degree, because now that empathy is basically a threat detection. So when people say that I'm an empath, okay, I never even heard about this word until like 2019. When people say I'm an empath, or maybe it was 2020, like, how crazy is that? When they say that, immediately I'm like, okay, what kind of unpredictable situation or trauma happened in your life that caused you to raise your levels of empathy, that now you have to like gauge, how is this person feeling? How is this person feeling? And I have it really, really strong in my life. So I'm not saying anything negatively about being in that situation, because I have that capacity to understand, like, okay, this person's this way, this person's that way. Like, I'm constantly on the prowl of like emotion. Okay. And it's gotten a lot better since I've really relaxed. So the next survival adaptation is pressure to perform or to stabilize others. Okay. This is a huge one. So I don't know necessarily, I've really been thinking deeply about it lately, because there's some personal experiences that I'm having that I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is like trying to be somebody that they're not, and they have all of this pressure to be this certain way, even though I don't think that anybody's really laid that expectation on them. And they're thinking that I have to do this in order to stabilize this person. So if, like, my son said it to me, and I was like, you can say whatever you want to me. Just, don't come at me, but do it in a very nice and tactful way of, I really want to talk to you about this situation. I'm feeling this way because of these things, and just really be open about that. So, we're both still learning how to communicate with each other, even though we've been together for 14 years. Okay. We're just kind of both going through like a threshold liminal situation in our life. And you don't have to worry about stabilizing me, okay? I will be fine. But that pressure to perform, getting good grades all the time, that might be driving a little bit of that survival adaptation, stabilizing others. Remember, when you're like worried about being on eggshells around certain people because you don't know if they're going to fly off the rails or not, all right? That desire to stabilize them is how you can feel secure, okay? That's a survival adaptation, all right? Another one is early responsibility. So maybe you were just neglected. Maybe your parents had you and you were growing up in the, 70s, 80s, and they're just like, yep, we had children, but we're going to go out and do this thing, like, get away from me. Like, I don't, a lot of Gen X might feel this way. If you're Gen X, shout out. So they were responsible for basically taking care of themselves, okay? And so they had this early, like, deep responsibility. And I have so many Gen X friends who fit this bill. Like, I am imagining them. And I had a little bit of a taste of what they went through, because I grew up in the 80s and in the 90s, and it was still kind of like that. But now, like, it's very much not like that anymore. Okay. So you can see with these forms of survival adaptation how our systems, which are holding these memories in our fascia, okay, everything that's going on in your body, everything that's going on in your life, it gets stored in your body. In fact, I have this kind of wicked pain over here, and it's like, I can feel it, and I've had massages on it and they've gotten it out, but it just keeps on coming back. And it's like, okay, what is my body trying to tell me? Okay. Now, our systems learn these things and they hold it in our systems. Okay. So if you're starting to notice that you've got pains in certain areas, there's fascial release that you can do. Myofascial massage is helpful on moving that energy out, but then also addressing the core issue of why those things are happening in your body. Okay, but your system has now learned through survival adaptation, through these forms. If I stay sharp, I stay safe. Okay, and I personally can say that yes, these, like, I've experienced these and I'm currently working on, like, unraveling the things as well. Okay. Now, moving on, there are some refined survival traits that people will get praised for, all right, that are actually that may not be the best, all right? Let's just say that. So, hyper independence is basically saying, I don't need anyone, okay? You've been hurt, played, whatever. Hyper independence is really this, your body's saying, I don't need anyone, which is not true. Like, we're very, like, communal creatures. Like, we need to have some communication and experiences with our community. Like, we're born that way. Like, we need one another. All right. Hermiting and isolating, I see it all the time in my feed, where, women are like, man, I used to have a lot of friends and now I'm just kind of a hermit. I stay home. And then the friends that I have, like, I don't talk to them anymore. And now I'm starting to feel negatively about that. I'm starting to feel depressed and, whatever other feelings are coming up for them, which is great that they're reaching out. Okay. Because that's normal, especially post quarantine. I think it's a fairly normal experience. But to say that you don't need anyone, or one thing that kind of triggers me, and you guys can say whatever, is like, I don't like people. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't like people? Um, I had a manager. There was a manager. Nobody really liked him. And I was hanging out with him and he was like, I don't like people. And I was like, you don't like people, but you're managing people. Like, that's the opposite of what you should be doing. Like, what are you doing? So, when, like, I don't like it when people say, like, I don't like people, because I love people. I think they're so interesting and fun. And, like, I love talking with people, just random people that I see. But you know what? I also talk to trees, flowers, squirrels, the geese. Like, I'm talking to all kinds of things. I'm connecting with all kinds of stuff. So when I feel the connection, I really enjoy being around people. But that doesn't mean that I don't need time to, like, clean my energy out, okay? So the hyper independence is one, okay? I don't need anyone. Next is over functioning, all right? I'll handle it. Instead of delegating, no, I'll take care of it. Oh, could you do this? And then, like, that person goes to do it and then it's already done and you're like, why did you even ask me to do that? Oh, I just took care of it. And I've done this before. I don't do it anymore. I'm just like, I don't have the capacity and the energy to devote to doing everything for everybody. So I'm just going to do what I agreed to do. And then if more is required of me, we can negotiate that. All right. But for the meanwhile, I'm just going to stick in my little box here that I said that I would do. And then we can renegotiate if that comes up. So going from over functioning to just, limited functioning on the things that I want to handle and agreed to handle. Like, I'm not going outside of that. Where before, like, I would definitely just like, oh, that needs to get taken care of. That needs to get taken care of. And I will work myself, like, workaholic, I don't know how you say that in an ism, whatever that is my kryptonite. Like, that is the addiction that would kill me. Not drinking alcohol, not doing drugs, not, I don't know, whatever, eating a whole bunch of food. Working is my addiction. Like, I love it, especially if I get locked in. I'm just like, you can't stop me. So I have to stop me because I'll just keep going and going and going to where I end up burnt out. Don't have any energy. And now if I'm burnt out, it's going to take me months to recuperate. It's going to take me months to recover. If I've gotten to that burnout state, it's taking months. I've had to do it twice in my life. It's very difficult. And it's such a long process to actually clear all of that burnout and restore some, like, energy back, okay? All right, next one is emotional control. Okay, that might seem like a strong thing, like, oh, I don't cry, I don't have feelings, I don't care. That emotional control isn't really emotional regulation, because emotional regulation is feeling the feeling and then letting that feeling dissipate. Emotional control is feeling the feeling, stopping it. And that sits in your system still, okay? So saying, I don't react, I don't have feelings, that type of emotional control is dangerous, all right? Not to say that it's not needed every once in a while. Sometimes not having that emotional, like, not having an emotional reaction in, like, an emergency situation. Let's say, there is a car accident and you're the one that witnessed it and you have the ability to go in and help somebody, call 911, be on the phone, maybe even do CPR, or, you know, whatever sort of life-saving, like, that makes sense. Having emotional control in that state is good. However, when you do go through those things, after it happens, then you have, like, you've basically delayed whatever feelings from that until after. And then an emotionally regulated, higher mind person is going to go through whatever the stages of emotions that they feel from that situation, because the adrenaline is now run out, and now you're safe enough to experience those feelings. And maybe it's crying, maybe it's shaking, maybe it's just kind of laying in bed like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, and just feeling all the feelings that come up, and hoping that that person is doing well, okay? But emotional control is over and over and over again when you're having situations where you do need to have these emotions be cycled and felt. You don't react, you just kind of push it down. And you can do that for a long time, but like I said, it's almost this form of biological usury to do that. So that's a dangerous trait to have. Okay. Perceptiveness, being able, like, is basically saying, like, I read everything. Okay. That's the constant threat detection going off. It's like, are you a threat? 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 You're constantly bracing yourself to find, like, the dopamine hit of, oh my gosh, okay, that's the thing that's dangerous. That's the thing that I was looking for. Okay. You're constantly doing that. It is mentally exhausting. Like, if you're exhausting your energy doing these things, it's like, I hope you can get over it if you're going through it. Because it is like, I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted just thinking about it, okay? A few years ago, I took it upon myself. I was like, you know what? My goal for myself is to be much more feminine. Not that I wasn't feminine, but I had all of these, it really was like I wanted to soften myself instead of being in this survival mode all the time, soften myself into being like a little more carefree and not in the reacting or the handling or the managing or the not needing, right? Really isolating myself. I was like, I just don't want that anymore. I want to feel alive. Like, I was put here in this body, and I want to have this body experience, whatever that is. I don't want to be in survival anymore. So that's part of why Celestic Intelligence was even born, is because of that. Mr. Nargis, real men do cry. Hi, Mr. Nargis. So the next one is, so the next survival trait that is considered dangerous is productivity. Okay, remember I was telling you that, like, my addiction is workaholism, or however you say that. Working. I will work all hours of the day. I would get up in the morning, go to work, do the work, come home, and then just continue working. I'd have like 2 or 3 side jobs, like hustle jobs that I was doing, plus add in like all the home repair that I was doing. Like, I was working constantly, and I couldn't sleep because my body was not relaxed enough to do that. So productivity is saying, I'm staying ahead. I'm staying ahead of any of the threats. Okay. I was one of those crazy preppers too. Like, I would stock up on toilet paper and stock up on this and stock up on that. It's like, if I don't have these things, then I'm behind. And now I don't have that thought anymore. I really like had to, I think in 2020, it really came to me when I had to like throw out all of this food that was expired. And I was like, you know what? the threats that I thought were happening in these certain moments in my timeline and didn't happen, but I put all of this energy into it, and then having to like dump it all out, or throw it away, was a real wake up call of, I didn't really stay ahead. I was just kind of busying myself thinking I was being productive, but I really wasn't. Okay. Now the next one is, and the last one is financial self-reliance. Okay. I secure myself. And, to a certain degree, like, that's true. All right. But again, like I was saying with the prepping of the food prepping that I was doing, or the materials, like having them everywhere, thinking that that was going to secure me, I found that it just was not true. All right. I found that it was just not true. Like, you can do all of this work of prepping yourself financially, physically, and if you don't have your own spiritual self prepped, like, you're missing the point. It took me to like really think. I did learn a lot of good skills, so it's not a complete loss. However, there was a little bit of biological usury that went into that, because it was like feeding in fear. I was feeding this fear that if I didn't do something, instead of really just relying that God is going to provide for me. And so, like, all of these things, all of these survivals, is really just not being like spiritually connected, and knowing that your needs are going to be taken care of when those needs come up, whatever it is. Like, I've had lots of losses, lots of grief this last year, but at the end of the day, all of my needs have been met, and then more. Okay. And it doesn't matter like what situation. If I told you, maybe one day I'll tell the story, but if I told you all of the things, and then the miracles that happened, like, it's amazing. Okay. So when I say that these are dangerous survival traits to be holding, it's because it really is like this low level survival animal brain, and we're not in the higher mind, and we want to be there. Okay. So survival doesn't always look like struggle. Okay. Right. So you can have it all put together. You can have the perfect bunker. Okay. And it doesn't look like it's a struggle. You're like, oh my gosh, like you've got it all mapped out, don't you? Okay. It can look really excellent. Survival can. All right. So all those people with their bunkers, like having it all on fleek. Oh yeah, I've been working on this for the last 20 years, last 50 years, whatever, the last 5 years, because I'm ready for shit to hit the fan. It's gonna happen. My attitude towards that has shifted greatly, because I was there in that mindset, and then I was like, you know what? It's not even serving me. Like, it's all going to waste. So unless it's something that you can actually maintain year over year, it doesn't make sense to like put all your energy into making all of these things. And I still have things that I have to toss out. Like, if I don't eat all my pickles and it's like past a year, the pickles don't taste good after a year, so I had to toss them out and do whole new batches anyways. So I've now been able to pull back and refine, okay, this limited amount of energy, remember, I'm not over functioning, just the things that I can handle, the things that I actually will use and manage. Now that's what I do. Okay. The hidden cost. And I think I've done a hidden cost stream talking about sunken costs. But the hidden cost of survival adaptation, the it works until it doesn't, okay? Like, I think I've kind of alluded to some of that. Expired canned food is usually still good. Um, it is, but it doesn't hold the same vitamins and minerals after a certain period of time because of the breakdown. And so it doesn't make sense to have, and I've eaten expired food without really worrying about it. Um, Canning is where it's at. Ask Chef Boyardee Mini. I cannot eat Chef Boyardee anymore. I when I was a kid, I loved it. It was such a treat. And now I eat it and I'm just like, oh, what the heck? I used to love SpaghettiOs. And when I was a kid, I wasn't even, it was just a teenager thing. I'd eat them with Cool Ranch Doritos. I know, it sounds terrible. And even now, I'm just like, that sounds disgusting. But when I was a kid, that was where it was at for me. Can't believe live on YouTube telling you guys my secrets. All right. But I think it was maybe 10 years ago I tried the SpaghettiOs and I was like, ugh, I can't even, like, I couldn't even eat it. I couldn't even finish it. Very undelicious. No, it was really good when I was a kid. Well, when I was I think I was like 12 or 13. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, yeah. I was wilded out, you guys. This is before I was 14. When I was 14, it was, what did we like? It was, and I still eat this because I think it's great, but, Mr. Nargis, gonna be my mod. There we go. There you go. Got a wrench. You're a wrench. It was nacho cheese Doritos dipped with cottage cheese. I don't know where this came from. I think it was just one of my friends. I went over to her house one day and she was just eating that. And I was like, what the heck? Thought it was strange. Tried it. Loved it. And I still eat that to this day. Just, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm sharing that with you guys. Just weird teenager stuff. Okay. So the hidden costs, so survival adaptation works until it doesn't, okay? Costs include chronic tension and an inability to relax. I've felt this. It's just stored in your body, and I have a little bit here. I'm working on it. I felt it earlier today, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I have like all kinds of, I have a massage table. It's like a little like thing that I just lay on the floor and I could just lay on it. It's a little rough, but it's relaxing. Like I could just lay there and it does all the work. An inability to relax, like not being able to sleep. So if you have insomnia, that's your body telling you things. If you have heart palpitations, that's your body telling you like there's some tension, there's something going on here. And then not being able to sleep. It could be from a high caffeine, but also consider if you're in a survival mode, you're going to have these tensions inside. Classic. Congrats, Mr. G, Mr. Nagas. Yay. I don't know how to do, I don't think, yeah, I don't have, what is it called? Like where your phone will like do the little balloons and stuff. Anyways, congratulations. I don't have anything cool to congratulate. Okay, the next one is difficulty receiving. All right. receiving help, receiving any aid, receiving a compliment. Like, you're not going to be wanting to receive anything from anybody because remember, I can handle it. I don't need anyone. All right. I secure myself. I don't need anyone else to help me. I'm ahead of the game. Okay. I'm reading everything. I am playing, what do they call it? 13D chess. I'm playing 13D chess. I'm playing 33-degree chess. Okay? I don't need anybody. That's a difficulty receiving. Okay? If you cannot receive and you're constantly giving and you think that, oh, I'm so great, I'm giving. I've been here, done that. Okay? I don't receive anything, but I give to whomever. Oh, you want this? You want that? You want this? You want that? Because remember, I've gotten all these cool stores of whatever I've been working on because I'm productive. I had to learn a really difficult lesson about receiving. Maybe it wasn't that difficult, but it was just kind of a God nudge of, hey, you cannot give without receiving. They work tandemly together. Like, if you're not allowing somebody else to give to you and you receive it, how are you supposed to receive the Holy Spirit? How are you supposed to receive the provisions that I'm providing you if you're not receiving? Okay? A hidden cost is difficulty in receiving. Okay? It's the little things after all. Yep. All right. The next cost is control issues masked as standards. Okay? Oh my gosh, there's all these noises going on in my house. I don't know if somebody knocked on the door or rang it or whatever. Control issues masked as standards, okay? So you've probably seen this. This is a really easy one to identify, but just somebody who's really controlling, trying to control the situation, trying to control how, things come by. Sorry, that has me a little distracted. I'm like, should I go answer the door or what? It's really nice. It's been like in the 70s. So I have all the windows open and all the doors. All right. Next is relational strain. Okay. So others feel managed. And I think I still have like a little bit of this where there's a little bit of strain in my relationships because I've always just managed things. I haven't like allowed people to do things for me. Just like, oh, it's my house. I'm just going to take care of it. I'll do all the housework. I'll do all the cleaning. And I get really crazy about it sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm always cleaning the kitchen. Always. Like, that's the first place I go and I start cleaning. And I notice, like, I get really quiet and I'm just like, nobody talk to me. I'm in my own world. Like, wiping down everything, cleaning all up, cleaning the fridge. Like, I just get really crazy about cleaning because, like, I have my standards. And I like things to be a certain way, especially in the kitchen. Mostly because I spend a lot of time in there. I'm not like going out to eat. I'm always making something from scratch or making meals or even meal prepping. So I like to have a clean space in there for my creativity to go wild in there. Okay. The relational strain that can happen is that others might feel managed, where they're like not getting their needs met because you're just not present when you're in that survival adaptation. That was the name of a movie with Jared Leto and Denzel Washington, The Little Things. I don't think I've seen that, but oh my gosh, I'm pretty excited. Cinemark has like where old movies play in the theater. And they have The Fifth Element coming out at the end of July. And I'm kind of like, I've seen it a million times, but I'm like, I want to see it in the big screen again. So I'm going to get a couple tickets to that because it just sounds fun. Something to look forward to. All right. The last hidden cost we're going to cover today is exhaustion masked as ambition. Okay. I'm really good at this one. I was working full time plus overtime, going to school full time, okay, online, and also buying a house all at the same time and probably doing some other crazy ass shit. All right. I was ambitious. I had a lot of energy to do it. I was ambitious. And I was always exhausted as well. So that survival adaptation of I need to get a degree, I need to get a house to feel secure, I'm doing it, okay? This is the survival adaptation that I'm talking about. So the key insight about all of these hidden costs is that survival keeps you alive because it's meant to. It's an emergency system that needs to be put into place. Okay, it's going to keep you alive. But it does not let you be met. Okay? Cuz you're not really present. You're always in the future. Like, oh, I've got to take care of this in the future. Or sometimes, I don't think it was necessarily for me, but it was like the things that I learned in my past were like driving my future because of that survival adaptation mindset, which is all of the things that we're talking about combined. Yes, multi-pass. Yeah, she knows it's a multi-pass. I'm so excited to see that. I wonder what I'm going to wear. So many cool ideas. Okay. Where are we? Oh my gosh, I'm talking a lot. Okay, number 6, the illusion of identity. So, people don't just use survival strategies. They become them, okay? They become the strong one. Oh, like I said, I was the strong one. People knew that I was the strong one. I was the strong one because I could endure all of this stuff and still stand. Okay? Still have coherent conversations. Still have a desire to like heal from it. All right? Yeah, no, but maybe. Of me talking too much? I don't know. I kind of talk a lot. It's okay. I'm only an hour in. This is good. And I feel like I haven't been doing my regular, so this is my like regular scheduled, right? Oh, multi-pass. So you become the survival strategy. So you become the strong one. You become the logical one. You become the provider. You become, okay? And then you're just like, when you're in those roles, it's not really a leadership role as much as it is somebody just controlling like their narrative around them. And really like the relational strain, who really wants to be around that? Nobody, like, I don't know. It just made me bitchy and like super focused, and like I could just play my video game of my real life like I was a Sims character or something. It creates the rigid singularity, which I didn't get to share this last time, but I made a little horseshoe of what multiplicity is. So when you're up here, so basically the horseshoe theory, I think it's a theory anyways. The horseshoe theory is like these two are basically the same thing, just with different flavors. And this is your harmony like center, all right? So when your multiplicity, which is, we all have certain layers to our personalities. You have your self coherency is a valid configuration of all of who you are. Okay. So, mom Amelie and sister Amelie and friend Amelie, and then maybe there's like friend one, two, three, like, okay, that's my close friend. Okay, this is an acquaintance. This is somebody I associate with. This is somebody I work with. Like, all of these beings that I become are podcast Amelie, like all of these beings that I become, they're all valid and coherent with each other. Okay. There's no splits, there's no fragmentation. Like, each person is like, if you met me in person, I'm the same as like on the podcast. But with some of my friends, I might, have certain jokes. With my son, there's a certain way we talk to each other. And it doesn't mean that I'm not a mom. It's just like my mom self is not going to be talking to the podcast audience in the same way. And the way I talk to my podcast audience isn't necessarily how I'm going to talk to people in my workplace. Okay. So that's the multiplicity, is you can have valid coherence between all of these, different people that you're talking to or you're communicating with in your life. Now, the two separations, you have the rigid identity, okay, which comes from trauma. It comes from social pressures, okay? And this is where your identity, like all the parts of you, your identity collapse. It's suppressed, okay? And you're trying to like jam pack it into, this person wants me to be like this, or this social pressure wants me to be like this, or these traumas have kind of compounded me into this person. Okay. And then the other is chaotic splitting. This is where you have the psychological disconnection from yourself. Okay. This is what I can call fragmentation. All right. This is where there's disconnection. Okay. So like one personality, like, that is communicating, doesn't, like, there's a disconnect from the other one. All right. So there's a whole bunch of splits. Okay, Samantha. That's cute. All right. So when I'm talking about this illusion of identity, this is the survival strategy that you've become. You're moving into that rigid identity where you're suppressing or you're collapsing parts of your identity. Okay. So we really want to be in that harmony of the center of the horseshoe. Okay. Just this top part here. And anything that we really talk about, we want to be harmonious. Okay. Whether it's egoists and narcissists, whether it's, ideas of multiplicity. I mean, we can use this horseshoe principle on all kinds of these kind of topics. When it comes to like our identities. All right. So, the next one, so this is part 7, is why letting go might feel dangerous. Okay. Now, remember, the survival mechanism that we have, like every one of us has, it serves a great purpose. Like if a ball rolls out in front of you, while you're driving in a residential area and you see that ball, your survival mechanism is going to kick on and it's going to hopefully push the brakes on the vehicle, because when you see that ball, there's likely a child that's like running after that ball. So that danger that you saw, your survival kicks on and it's like, there's something here that is a threat detection. We've examined that threat and now we're pumping the brakes. We are stopping the car because we want to see how this plays out. And then once that kicks on, then you can go back and turn your circuitry back into that higher mind and start processing the environment of, okay, is there a child? Was the, you know, where are the people where that ball came from? Okay. So letting go is going to feel dangerous, because this is important, because we don't want to bypass, okay? We don't want to bypass and just like go from, okay, this situation, and then now there's like certain mechanisms that we need to do in the middle of that. So letting go of letting go of survival adaptation might feel like losing your edge, okay? Like, I was always terrified, if I don't do these things, like, I'm not going to be perceived as good in my job, okay? I'm going to lose my job because now I don't have that edge that I've been performing at. Letting go might feel like becoming naive because now you're not reading everything, okay? And it's just like becoming okay with not knowing and that not being the person to go to. Letting go, this one is real. It might feel like risking collapse. I don't think Samantha's really here. She just came in to tell me, like, I'm doing witchcraft. Like, is that a threat? Like, okay, maybe, what if I am? What's it to you? There's lots of other YouTubers on the interweb that you can go to. I don't even know how many. How many YouTubers? Google. How many YouTube channels are there? Wow. As of 2025 to 2026, there are over 114 million total YouTube channels. Samantha. I'm 1 in 114 million. So there's a chance. Oh, cute. That's cute. Sorry, that was really rude, I guess. I don't know. 114 million YouTube channels, and you step into mine. What does he say in Casablanca? Out of all the gin bars in all the world, out of all the YouTube streams in all the world, Samantha comes into mine. All right. Moving on. So letting go of survival adaptation feels like risking collapse. And remember, collapse is just terrifying. Until you've been through a few of them and you're like, I'm still like, actually, I'm a little bit better than like after the collapse. It actually feels good. Okay? It's not that bad. But our nervous systems don't think that. It's just ginger ale, guys. I'm not drinking. No tequila for me today, Mike. That was a wild time. Christmas 2025. Okay, so risking collapse is one of the survival adaptations that might feel dangerous to let go of, okay? Letting everything fall to pieces and collapse is like the opposite of what you're working towards when you're in that survival adaptation thought process. And then finally, letting go of survival adaptation feels like losing control as well, okay? So your nervous system is like, don't let go of this. Everything's going to be horrifying because this is what is keeping us alive, okay? That's your nervous system talking to yourself. This is keeping me alive. Don't let go of it. And I've felt this, and it finally, like, I had to have a breakdown, just like a little mental breakdown of like, oh my gosh, I can't keep this up. Like, if I keep this up, I'm gonna, like, literally die. My doctor was like, I don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it or whatever, but you need to figure something out because your blood pressure just kind of keeps on going up slowly over year. And if you don't do something about it, great doctor, I loved him. Ginger jokes always hit nicely. They certainly do. There's a funny ginger joke that my son likes to tell me. Um so that alone can be terrifying to the person that actively is in that survival adaptation mindset, okay? Now, how are we going to move from the survival adaptation into that post survival sovereignty that we really want to have? And it feels a lot better on this side than it does on that side. So, moving towards that post survival sovereignty is going to be a much better feeling place. All right. So let's talk about the shift. So we're not necessarily removing strength. Strength, we're redefining it, okay? We're changing the mechanisms that run your strength, all right? So we're going from a fear-based scanning, we're going from preemptive control, we're coming from defensive excellence. Okay, it looks really good. Like we're really good at surviving over here. All right. So we're moving from that into more of a grounded presence, into intentional structure. Okay, being really intentional about that. And then responsive clarity. Okay. So, what post survival looks like, this is actual real power. It's not living in fear. This is real power. So, it's this is the aspiration of where we want to go, and we're doing it where we're actually grounded. We're present. Okay? So, we act without bracing. Okay? If you feel like once you start to let go of some of these survival adaptations, um, you'll start to feel your body like when it does happen. Like maybe you always feel that way, and that's why your neck is like my neck is always like needs a massage and a trip to the hot springs and baths all the time and massages and all kinds of stuff to like relax, girl. I'm just trying to like show my body, okay, like it's okay. You don't have to brace anymore. Um, so you act without bracing. So once you start to act without bracing, then your body will notice that. What happens when you provoke an angry redhead? The ginger snaps. There you go. Ginger jokes. Ginger jokes for days. So you act without bracing, and you'll notice when your body starts to brace, once you've like hit the post survival sovereignty part, even just being a little bit in it, you'll start to notice your body like bracing for certain things. Um, there were many moments like I didn't even realize it, but I would just be terrified of my boss. Like my boss is going to call me into the office and tell me like I don't have a job anymore. And so I was always terrified to like go into the boss's office because I was thinking like today's the day, like every time. Like, oh my god, today's the day. Like I didn't dot this I and whatever. And now the boss is going to call me into the office and she's going to tell me to get the heck out. Clear your stuff. You're going. All right? And I always had that feeling of threat. And throughout my whole life, I had that. It's, in my younger years, I'm not going to be able to get a job. Like, I'm not going to be able to pass a background check. I was terrified of having a background check. I was terrified of anybody, like, even remotely looking at any of those things. So, um, I was constantly bracing myself because I've been in situations where that was my survival mechanism. I had adapted to it. And so for the longest time, I was just terrified to do anything. And finally, when I turned 25, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not have fears of these things anymore. And I just started going out and doing things. And it helped to relax some of those, like, tension that I had. But it does take time. And then once you start to get into the groundedness of just being present, you start to notice these things. So the next one, this other aspiration, is speaking without rehearsing threat. Okay, so you're not even like acknowledging threats. All right, so you speak without rehearsing them. You earn without proving your worth. You rest without guilt. This is a huge one for me. I rest a lot now, but I would say like 5+ years ago, I wasn't. I couldn't even sit on the couch and like take 5 minutes and just sit there and relax. Like, as soon as I would sit down, like, my mind would just start going like, oh, you need to go do this, you need to go do that, you need to go do this. And I felt guilty for even sitting down on the couch. I wouldn't play video games with my child. Like, there was too much to do. I don't have the time for you. And then that started eating, like, I started feeling guilty as a parent for that. And I was like, you know what? I think there was a moment where I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to give my child the time of day, because what is all those other things worth if not for him? Like, I'm trying to provide him with a good life, and he just wants to have experiences with me. So resting without guilt is amazing. Feels really good. I highly recommend. And then you can relate without managing perception, okay? Like, you're not really caring about now what the boss thinks of you. If they fire you, then okay, I'll go get another job somewhere. Like, me being here isn't the end all be all. And by the way, whatever your name was, I do have a job. I don't need to fill out job applications. Slow burn, like 77 minutes later. So the key here is you're no longer trying to stay safe. You're choosing how to live, okay? So you're not looking to stay safe. We're living. Sorry, I'm blinking. I burned an incense and now my eyes are smoky. Smoky, smoky. Oh my gosh, we're almost done. Yay. A moment of silence for the bikes that aren't coming back. R.I.P. R.I.P. Dude, my bike is so cool, except for I wear high heels with my bike, my e-bike. And I've walked on some of the trails that the bike paths, and there's been a couple times where I've almost, like, not done good, like, fell off of it. And it's like, you know how it pedals? Like, the pedal will be down, and then I'll be, like, going this way, and it, like, hits the pavement. I'm like, oh my god. Not good. Not good. Okay, let's talk about integration, okay? So survival is not the enemy. I've been saying this the whole time. It's not the enemy. It's not a bad thing. It is an emergency mechanism that our bodies have to, like, warn us of immediate dangers. but it's not a place where we want to live. So we don't need to destroy the survival mechanisms. We just need to retire it from being in the driver's seat at all times, okay? We want it to be a tool. We need it to be our memory. We need it for reference, but we don't want it to be our main operating system. We want our sovereign body, our sovereign being to be the main operating system here, okay? So there's a version of you that is powerful because it had to be. And if you've resonated with the survival adaptation mindset system that I've talked about, like you and the rest of us, like we've all been here. However, there is a more powerful version of you available to you. And it is being in that sovereign system, of being in your living body, of being in your physical body, being present, having your emotions and actually feeling through them as they come, activating in your higher mind. Like, how cool is that? And then being able to connect spiritually to like get some extra messages. Like, our bodies are amazing. And I've said this from day one, our bodies are amazing. Like the things that they can do, the possibilities that they have that haven't even been activated yet. Like, we're moving into a new era and a system, you know, as a shared experience that is going to blow our minds away. Like, we're going to learn so much more about what our bodies are and how they operate. And maybe some of us already have some of those messages coming through, but it is amazing. Like, very cool. So if you're watching this and you're wanting to be more in that sovereign system, like, this is your year to start acting into that, okay? Start really analyzing, like, okay, am I doing threat detection or am I being grounded in this moment? Okay? This year is going to decide which one you're allowing to lead for you. All right. Whew. That was a great stream. I love you guys. I think I have another podcast coming up next Tuesday. And if not, I might bump it up and do another one, just because I feel like I missed a lot and I want the people to, I don't know. I guess I want to podcast more. I want to stream more. Part of my year connection. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope most of it was interesting. And shout out to the haters. I mean, maybe it is witchcraft to, like, you know, be a sovereign being and connected to yourself and not fearful and all that stuff. But I guess I practice witchcraft. So that's cool. Happy St. Patrick's Day. My father's birthday, he would be 62. And so rest in peace. I actually got letters from him from the other side. In my box of things that I had, I have a couple letters that he had sent me and that I had kept, and I didn't even know that I had them. So it was kind of interesting to see that. And it didn't really change my perspective on it, but it was just kind of interesting to read. All right. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I can't remember what I had titled it. Hold on. I can find that really quick. Woo! Shout out! I've been listening to In Excess. Do you guys remember that? Oh, we're going to talk about sovereign interiority. What a great segue the survival adaptation is into sovereign interiority. And that just means really looking at the structure of your inner workings. So that's going to be a great one. I love that. If you're watching this, thank you so much. Please remember to like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, I will go in and I usually check it probably about once a month, and I go in and I subscribe to whomever. So that's great. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. I will see you guys next week, if not sooner. So please keep in touch, and I love you guys. All right, good night.